So first off, hello, because I'm from the South. So before we do anything, we have to speak first. That's like a rule, right? So hey, now before we get started, I have a question. Has anyone ever heard of epilepsy in here? Okay. Has anyone ever thought that it may be more than seizures? Okay, cool. Now today we're going to tell some stories and talk about some things. But before we even get to that, I just want you to breathe because it's going to be more than a story. It's going to be the truth. And that truth is found in families, bodies, the future, and faith. So take a moment, breathe, and walk with me. Epilepsy isn't just medical, shifting the lens to whole person advocacy. The hardest part of epilepsy often isn't the seizures, it's everything that happens in between them. Now, when I say that to you, I literally mean between them. So let's say, for example, you have a seizure on Monday, right? Now, let's say you don't have another seizure till Saturday. What do you think is going to happen to your mind, the way you're thinking about stuff between Monday to Saturday? Do you think you'll have fear that another seizure will happen? What about if you have senior pictures coming up? What if you have the prom or homecoming on Friday? Do you think you're going to be nervous that another seizure can happen? What if you are here on this TEDx stage and are afraid that, oh, I might have a seizure while I'm up there. I better be careful. All those things can impact someone that has epilepsy. So I want us to think through that while we talk about epilepsy being more than a medical condition today. Epilepsy isn't just medical. So now listen, anyone who's taken anatomy knows that the heart and the brain are not connected physically in our bodies, right? I hope you know that, right? Okay. So thank you. I was thinking I was the only one for a second. I was like, wait. So now, with that in mind, what I want you to think about though is that while epilepsy affects the brain, because it's a neurological condition, how about everything that happens in your brain affects your heart? And by your heart, I mean your mental. I mean your feelings, your emotions, how you go through the day, how you either have a good day or have a bad day. Like one of my peers earlier said, life is life in some time with us, right? Think about how those two things are connected. Today, I want us to shift our minds from epilepsy, the medical condition, to epilepsy and the person, their condition, how they feel, as well as their caregivers. The common lens. So, a lot of times when you think about epilepsy, you think about the convulsions. You think about that old wives' tale that people continue to this day still ask, but can he swallow his tongue? No, that's really not a thing. Please don't tell anyone that ever, okay? So you think about the physical, visible symptoms that we can see. But what you don't think about is the social withdrawal, the anxiety, the isolation, because you feel like, well, I guess that's why no one's invited me, because if I have a seizure, then okay, somebody's going to be afraid to, because they're not going to know what to do. And who wants to be at their party and then one of your friends fall out have a seizure? One, because you don't know what to do, but also they happen on your watch. How's that going to feel? So today I want us to shift that viewpoint from like this little piece to more of a kaleidoscope view where we can see the whole entire person, how they may be feeling, how they're dealing with this, and how they may be battling with their seizures and all the things that come with it, i.e., the medications, the side effects of the medications, and all the other interventions that happen along the way. What we don't see. Now, listen, what we don't see with epilepsy is a fear of rejection, lack of independence, isolation, depression, no cure, public ignorance. Remember that time I told you that you can't swallow your tongue? That's the kind of public ignorance I'm talking about. Those kind of things that we don't see when we think about epilepsy, because we're just thinking about the seizures. We're just thinking about somebody falling out. Now, out of all the slides up there, this is my favorite slide, a personal awakening. Because today is not about awareness, it's about an awakening. It's about shifting the lens so you can see the person behind the condition. Back on Saturday, November 27th, 2010, my 3-year-old and I had walked to the grocery store. We called ourselves getting exercise a couple days after Thanksgiving, before his 4th birthday. We went to the grocery store, came back. We were talking about eating cereal, watching cartoons, all the things. I went to start putting the groceries away in my kitchen. He was in the living room. All of a sudden, I heard and I heard gasping. I was like, what the heck was that? I came around the corner. My 3-year-old is laying on his side. He's having convulsions. He's having a full-blown grand mal seizure. Never seen one in my life, ever. Immediately, I scooped him up and like start trying to shake him, trying to think that I was going to bring him out of it, praying over him, all the things. I didn't know what the heck to do. Immediately, if it's other parents in here, you know when your child, if something's going on, you immediately feel helpless. And with the seizure, you have nothing you can do but literally just wait and watch and pray that they don't hit their heads or something of that nature. So after he came out of it, and by this time I was at the hospital, that 2 minutes felt like 2 hours. And I remember thinking, like, how did that happen? What are we gonna do? So after a battery of tests, and about 2 months later, in January of 2011, he got the diagnosis of epilepsy. By the way, you only need 2 unprovoked seizures to have that diagnosis of epilepsy. So here we are. We have this diagnosis. Now I'm feeling even more helpless because I'm like, well, what can we do? When is the next seizure going to happen? The doctors can't tell me that. I'm just kind of waiting, kind of rolling the dice here. Okay, we're just going to hope for a good day today. Now, in the midst of that, I was afraid to let him ever leave my sight again, as you can imagine. Even to this day, he's 18, and he could probably tell you I still barely let him out of my sight. But through all that chaotic time, what emerged for me was a purpose and this overwhelming feeling of gratitude, feeling that, you know what, I can represent this population in a way that speaks for them until they can take over the fight for themselves. And that meant, one, educating myself, but also being able to understand what it looks like for him as well as my family and all the things we do for him with his epilepsy. That is a picture from a year ago, but he actually is sitting with us today, and he is 3 weeks past brain surgery. And I'm not going to point you out, but sir, that clap was for you. Hidden caregivers. I wish I could tell you that it was just me and my husband, but we have a whole village of people. Hidden caregivers, they become not just caregivers, advocates, they become educators, they become nurses and doctors as well, because all the things play a part when we're trying to help our son with his epilepsy. But not even just him. Everyone who cares for someone with epilepsy, they all become all those things. Oftentimes, their resilience is not celebrated. People just kind of see it like, oh, well, I mean, okay, I mean, you make sure that he takes his medicine. Okay, okay. I mean, are you okay? Oh, okay. But no one really checks in to see how you're doing, to see how you may be feeling. Because, hey, is that the seizure that caused him to be on a ventilator? Is that the seizure that may have caused him to have some type of permanent brain damage? No one's checking for that. We need to do a better job of shifting the lens to people and the caregivers, as well as people with epilepsy, how they may be feeling and dealing with these things. Shifting that lens creates visibility. The visibility creates compassion beyond seizure control. Now, it's not just the therapist in me that would say this, but mental health outcomes actually predict greater resilience in how people are feeling than seizure frequency. Let me say that again. So, what I'm saying to you is you could continuously be having seizures, but still, if you feel supported and your mental health is intact, then you still are able to have a successful, happier life. So, what that means, right, is that yes, we have a neurologist, yes, we have an epileptologist for him, but we also need to have a therapist for him as well. And not just for him, but for us as well, because all of this could include anxiety, social withdrawal, isolation, PTSD. Because what about the next seizure? Is the next seizure going to end up in the hospital? Are we going to have another injury? Is it going to require stitches? Things of that nature. The stigma. So I'm not going to read the whole slide to you, right? However, some of the things that stick out to me is that stigma leads to discrimination, exclusion, and silence. And it teaches people with epilepsy to hide when what they need most is connection. So picture being 18 years old. Most of your peers are able to drive. You can't drive a car because the state of North Carolina states that you have to be at least 6 months seizure free. And if you got a mom like myself, I'm going to say probably 12 months before that. So, yeah, think about when you're trying to connect with your peers the most, they're afraid. They want to ask you, hey, you want to go to the movies with us? But wait, what if that movie has flashing lights? We probably shouldn't invite him, huh? Imagine how that feels for a condition you have no control over. Imagine what you might feel if that was you or your kid. Things like that play a part in someone's mental health when they have a condition such as epilepsy that is completely outside their control. A new lens. So just like I said a moment ago, mental health therapy should include or be included whenever you're treating with someone with epilepsy for themselves as well as their caregivers. This is pretty much the new lens that we should be looking at, right? Physical, mental, and social all play a part in whether or not that person will be successful in their controlling their seizures, managing their life around the seizures, and having to not be so afraid of the lack of predictability around the seizures. This is everyone's issue. So I don't know if we have neurologists in here, neurosurgeons, all those good things, but I know we have some amazing people in here. But this is all of our issue. We are all responsible for the next person and making sure that people with epilepsy and their caregivers are heard, seen, and felt for whatever they may be going through at that time. Now, the heart of this message is if we only treat seizures, we miss the person. But what I also want to leave you with, a couple of things that I share on a regular basis in my therapy sessions with clients. Instead of asking someone, hey, what happened? Dang, what happened to you? What's wrong with you? Stop to ask someone, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling? What's going on with you? And lastly, my favorite one that please ask the caregivers this, how can I support you today? How can I support you? Let's not assume, but let's ask, how can I support you? Don't look away. How can I support you today? I hope something's been said because these people who have epilepsy are amazing folks that just happen to have epilepsy and their caregivers. But if not, you also can follow up with me because I'm happy to talk to you about it all the time. Trust me. Thank you so much.